Hi there, welcome back to this week's trade recap. It's the third week of the month since war has started. I haven't been performing as well as I could be, but I think I have some really interesting things to show here. So let's get right into Tuesday. Here on Tuesday, I had a weak bias because we did sweep these highs. So it kind of makes me a little bit bearish because we swept these highs inside of our value gap. So maybe we will return bearish, but we displaced above them with a lot of momentum, which kind of makes me a little bit bullish, which would be to these highs. And when we were trading on Tuesday, I was leaning a little bit more bullish, but I didn't have a really strong bias. But even before we swept those highs and displaced above them with momentum, here on the 1 minute, we have a setup that I could have taken. It happened around this zone, and because of all this momentum and because of this retraced here in the 15-minute, this is a continuation play and it is a really decent one, but it is different than what we are used to see. We tapped this right at open, and this just happened to be one of those trades which has been happening a lot, where at open we have a Judas swing, which just means it's a manipulation leg, and then we inverse something to the other side. And right here, that is a trade that we are not used to take. Here we have a BPR. We tap the 15-minute, which makes it a confirmation play. We inversed it with a lot of momentum. I know the candles aren't big, but you can see by this wick, if I zoom on a 30-second, you can understand that this is a lot of momentum. Even here, we have a change in the state of delivery, and this makes this a really decent play because the break-even is close, and we could take on the 1 minute something like this, because this would have to be a big stop because we were on open, and this would be the break even, and then we would have just to draw liquidity a little bit higher. And if we go on the 15 minutes, here on the left, you have this high inside of a value gap, which isn't the best liquidity because this is a little bit zoomed in, but also in the 1 hour, we have a fair value gap above, which hasn't been balanced. So this could be our target. This isn't the best trade to take. This isn't the most obvious one. We would be targeting this. This would be a big trade, and this to me is a hard trade. This is a harder one because I'm not used to these type of ones. I'm used to something more obvious, a little bit more clear, some sort of a retracement, a tap into discount, and then a long. But this is something that is really worthwhile noting and recapping because this will probably happen in the future. Maybe not on the next month, but maybe on the next year this will happen. And if we remember this, we will be able to take this trade on the long run. Then after this trade, we are on the 1 hour, which still hasn't closed above. See, right here, it closed by a tick, but it isn't that convincing. And because it did close by a tick, I just stopped trading because this isn't the best PA. We closed above the hourly. Now we are inversing a setup to the downside. I am a little bit more bullish than bearish, and I didn't take this trade. If I would take this, I would take it somewhere around here, because another thing that kind of make me bullish is that we inversed with momentum this hourly. So here on the 1 minute, I would be targeting on this short, I would be targeting the hourly inversion because I would want us to tap it and then have some sort of setup to the buy side, which happened. If you go here on the 3 minute, I was about to take this trade, but because the PA was getting bad, we closed above the hourly here, then we went above, then we inversed with momentum here, this 3 minute inversion for value gap. But I didn't like this one. I didn't like this range. I didn't like the PA, so I stopped trading, and I think it saved me because we had conflicting draws because we were a little bit more bullish because we already inversed the fair value gaps to the upside. We have momentum to the upside, but we had this 930 wick, which is a really good liquidity pool. So I was waiting for us to take one of them for then to long to the other side or short to the other side. This also wasn't the best. I wasn't even looking at the charts anymore because after all this chop, I don't want to be trading. But this isn't the best because if we go here on the 5 minute, the 5, which is a little bit small, it's really, really small, still hasn't closed, but I still think it is a good setup. I just think that because of all this price section, I think it didn't work just because of that. But this is a good trade also to notice, because I think on the long run, this will probably work. I think it needed to have a little bit more momentum, and that it needed to be in a different hour, because I've seen this signature in price fail a lot of times. So I wasn't looking at the charts, but if I was, I would probably not take it. Then we skipped Wednesday because we had an FOMC and I was trading, but we had really nothing. And on Thursday, we were inside and holding. This is a BPR, but let's just call it a BZ. We were holding this one and we took this liquidity. And I was hoping that we would have something to the buy side. I was hoping that we held this hourly after this sweep and then come back inside the range and have some sort of a long. But we are on hourly, and also this is really visible on the 4-hour. And I didn't like this because we needed a little bit more structure, because we took hourly lows. We are delivering from 4-hour and 1 hourly for valley gaps, which are really on the left side of the market. And this, if we go here on the 3-minute, which is a trade that I want to talk about, this is a little bit zoomed in my opinion, because this is the first fair valley gap to inverse. We swept this, we held this, okay, we have this one, but this is the more obvious one. We inversed this 3-minute with a lot of momentum, and this isn't the best, but I liked it, because if we zoom on the 1-minute, which is the time frame that I was looking at, we have a good, not the best, but we have a good trend line liquidity above. So I was targeting this high, and we inversed this momentum, and I wanted to take this one, so I did. But when I took it, it was almost around this zone right here. We tapped this BPR, and when tapping this BPR, because I've seen the market respect these BPRs and then create another manipulation leg because we needed more structure, just like I said, and then have another inverse that works just after. So this had a lot of momentum. This is a really good pattern play. I like this. I took it, but I closed it a little bit below break even, because when I entered, we were already on break even, and I wanted to see a lot of momentum through these highs, just to see that we were going to disrespect this BPR on the left. So it ended up working, ended up being a good trade, but it isn't the best. If we go on the 5-minute, we see that we didn't have that BPR. So if we took this trade on a 5-minute, which was this tiny inversion fair value gap, this would be valid. We wouldn't have a BPR to stop us, but I still think this isn't the best due to the lack of structure. It is a really good pattern play, but I think I did the best thing, and that was really hit. I still wanted us to go higher, but we just starting snaking around. This is really choppy price action. Taking any trade here couldn't be really that good. This one was the best one, where we have a change in the state of delivery and an inversion to the buy side, but as you can see, we came near to the buy side, which would be this high right here, and we just rejected it. Then we inversed another one, failed to the tick, and then on that trade, we hit the buy side. But these aren't the best examples that I want to show, because there will be better days. And an example of a better day is Friday, where here we had this condition that if we inverse this to the buy side, because we swept this liquidity inside the value gap, if we inverse this to the buy side, this will be bullish. If we hold it, we could be bearish to these lows, just like is happening right now. But because this is OPEX, I didn't even trade. I didn't even look at the markets, because on OPEX, which is just when the options expire, I don't have a good win rate, and the price action tends to be choppy, not the best. On this one, it didn't happen. We swept this high inside this hour for value gap, and right at open, we inversed this one, which I probably wouldn't take even if it was an OPEX, because it's right at open, and I don't really want to risk right at open. I wasn't looking at the chart, so I can't say if I would or would have not taken. This is really good because we have all this online liquidity with a lot of momentum, and the sweep and the delivery, and the bias could also be bearish due to the conditions, but I didn't take anything because it's OPEX. But it's really good to mention, because this trade will probably happen again. This pattern, this signature in price will probably happen again, and it won't be on a OPEX day. So it's good for us to look at it, so we can digest it, and then on the next days where we see this, we can take it. That's really it from me this week. A really slow week once again. As I said, since war has started, it has been really slow for me. I haven't been performing the best. I just had one break even that ended up with a slight loss because I took a time to close it. I took some time to notice that we were already on the break-even point. I hope on the next week we will have something better. At least I don't have any losses. Thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.